4 hours? Don't know. Woo, I'm worn out.
These are pros here, man. I didn't know there was going to be a bunch of cup ringers coming in here. I mean, I'm in with a lot of good guys like William Wilson. I know he can drive, and Jeff Taylor. But man, all of a sudden these cup ringers coming here, I feel like I'm in the Hooters Modified Late Model Pro Series or something.
I broke him, and I just cut right through.
I was caught in lap traffic, and that's what it was.
Yo, you getting lap traffic. You getting passed up by Big Daddy.
Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 podcast. We're here at World Karting. It's loud. It's racing.
Actually, here at Victory Lane Karting.
All right, we got Lanny Ford from the bottom line, Jeff Taylor, William Wilson. Guys, Carolina Panthers are, off-season workouts, OTAs, minicamp. Cam Newton threw. What are you guys' impression, Lanny? What are you hearing about Cam and his throwing?
I still want to see him get back into play. Just from my point of view, I don't see the same burning desire that I saw from Cam. Okay, he's older, family, kids. You start worrying about the wear and tear on the body. I'm just not sure that it's still there, and I'm not as excited. They made some moves, but I don't see they've made enough moves to make it above a 500 football team for this year. No, who they got to play.
Well, Jeff, what do you think about the throwing motion? They say it's more compact, and Lanny has a lot of good points. He's a man now. He's got a family.
Well, they put it side by side on the internet, and you could watch it, the live streaming. And other than one little thing, I didn't see a whole lot of difference. I really didn't. And going along with what he said, I think, a lot of people compare this to Andrew Luck. And it just says that's two different type of quarterbacks. And like he said, I'm concerned this year about whether or not he can last a full year. Yeah. And is it smart to maybe set him for a year? Because here's the deal. He takes some hits the way he does, 2 shoulder surgeries. He could be in trouble, and this is a big year for him.
All right, Will, before you go, let's hear from quarterback coach Scott Turner. He talks about Cam's new throwing motion.
Everything from Cam going forward has been great. He's put a lot of work coming post, having the, procedure that he had on his shoulder. He's trying to put himself in a position to be as good as he can be. Okay, and he's worked hard to get to this point. I think, have him to get out there, show the enthusiasm, throwing the ball. I think he's throwing well. He's doing a nice job. Well, it started specifically, last year just with his footwork of just keeping compact, make sure his feet and his eyes were working together. And that's where we really started. And then, it's carried over into this offseason as far as just making him a little bit more compact up in his upper body, a little bit more, closed off. I don't know if you mean by that, but just so he's not as open throwing the ball, and just to make him as efficient as possible, and putting as the least amount of stress. Now you're going to put stress on your arm. You're throwing a football. It's not a natural movement, but as little as we can, on his shoulder, just to take care of him. I've coached a lot of quarterbacks, and I haven't really ever coached one that doesn't have some issues with their shoulders. I mean, like I said, you look at pitchers, you look at NFL quarterbacks, throwing overhand is not a natural movement, so you're going to get some wear and tear on the shoulder. So I don't know if it's how he threw is any different, than guys I've had in the past, but I do know that going forward, and Cam is fully committed to doing everything he can to, make him the best player he can be, and then also just take care of himself. The biggest thing, though, is having your hips, pointed in the direction of your throw, and no different than a baseball player hitting a baseball or a golfer swinging or a boxer. You know what I mean? You generate power with your lower body, so you want your lower body, to be moving in the direction of where you're throwing. And if it moves in the opposite direction, you put more stress on the upper body, and you have to correct it with your arm. So just having everything, working in unison. That's where it starts, the lower body, because when you not to get too technical, but you strike the ground with your back foot and you generate power, and then it moves through your hips into your upper body. And with your feet, if you put your weight on your back foot, the weight's not transferring and the power's not generating. Now, Cam's a big, strong guy, and he can still get the ball out there. But yes, we work on that. But sometimes, those guys are 300 pounds and they're right here. Your weight ain't going forward, So you gotta make it work a little bit. That's part of our game.
All right, Will, the short version of that extended soundbite is Coach Turner says that Cam's release is tighter now. What do you think? And I think Lanny makes a good point about there's still not enough help
coming in to make this a team above 500?
Well, I mean, I don't think we know all that stuff. But of course, his release is going to be tighter now because his arm just had surgery. He's not going to take he don't have full range of motion back. That's just basic physics and biology. You get surgery, you don't have a full range of motion, you're tighter. That's just how that works. I mean, I just think right now, he just came off surgery, he's just starting. You got to give him a chance to work his way into it. We're acting like it's mid-season. He just had surgery, he's throwing for the first time. What do you expect to see? It's like he's like a gazelle learning how to walk right now. He's going to be clumsy, he's going to make some good moves, some bad moves. Plus, I mean, I don't know how much, Cam's a competitor. At the end of the day, Cam is say what you want to about the guy, he does like to compete, he does like to win.
You bring it up physics, don't bring it up wrong.
Yeah. So I think what ends up happening is, Cam's going to want to win. I think you're going to see the desire. Right now, you're seeing the nervousness, the reservation. You're scared to go all out. What if I throw and I throw my shoulder back out? What if I hurt myself? What if I this? He's got to get comfortable. He's got to get loose. Just like a guy gets his ACL surgery. Doc clears him, but until you get it all here where you feel what the doctors are telling you, that's what you got to do. Coming from an injury is different than coming back and being hurt.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Jeff, what about Gerald McCoy? He's going to jump in. You and Lanny, what do you think about McCoy? I think the front seven is stronger. Maybe the DBs get better because they don't have to cover longer, and maybe the defense can make up for maybe whatever the offense is lacking.
It very well may be the best, maybe front seven in the NFL, I got to say. But what I'll find interesting is what McCoy brings to that line in terms of what Poe and KK Short can do. Because you're not going to be able to double team anybody now, I don't think. And if you double team one of them, listen, Poe hasn't lived up to expectations, I don't think. So the gist is now, can he live up to expectations? Can he take it to the next level? But now you've got a front three. Who you going to try to stop? And that's my thought.
Well, you got a lot of things going on. They're looking at changing fronts, going from an even to an odd front. You're talking about 4 linebackers instead of 3. You let a linebacker go that you could have had on the cheap in Thomas Davis. And he's going to play for somebody else, and he's going to be a contributor.
He with the Chargers.
I know. And here you've got he was playing for $1 million. And here you've got inexperience there. My concern is there still is never any money spent on the offensive side of the ball. I've said that for years, especially up front.
Keep Cam healthy.
Yeah.
Or bad money if you add Matt Khalil.
That's what I was about to say. Matt Khalil, they paid some money then. It didn't work out.
That was a mistake from the beginning.
Yeah, Darrell Williams they thought was going to be pretty good, and he got hurt. But I don't know if they're spending bad money. Sometimes I think they do spend some bad money. But I think they just get somehow the injury bug bites their offensive line more than any place else.
Well, a lot of times they've got guys that's already had a little bit of tendency with that. I want to ask you a question you said about Cam. He is a huge competitor, but sometimes I think it hurts the team because he won't pull himself out. Like last year, he should have come out sooner, but the other side of that, they didn't have anybody they could really put in that could take his place. So it's a double-edged sword that sometimes he hurts the team because he won't come out, but yet he's not at full strength to where he can really play.
Well, you're familiar with racing. You've heard this term. Somebody got to slow down to speed up.
Yeah.
So you can be smooth.
That's right.
And the thing at the end, we talked about this last season. Could Cam's competitiveness hurt him? And here's why I say that. I don't think Cam's competitiveness hurt him because it's not Cam's fault. It's not Cam's job to take him out of the game. That's Ron Rivera's job. Ron Rivera played handsomely and say, look, I know you want to play. I understand. And matter of fact, Ron can understand it more than most coaches because he played. He can say, I know it's like, I know you want to be out there, but for the betterment of the team, I need to pull you.
But the other side of that is, when you look at a half-speed Cam, may be better than what you've got as a full-speed sub.
But would you rather have a half-speed Cam for half a season than a no-speed Cam the next season?
Oh, I know.
Well, and the gist is, I think we're forgetting. I think this is a pivotal year for Ron Rivera.
Oh, this is.
I think this is it. If you don't get to the playoffs and win that division, I agree. I think for Cam, Ron, the whole crew, this is a very pivotal year where I think we could be looking at next year Cam Newton not being on the roster and Ron Rivera not being the coach.
Jeff, I think you made a good point. Is this comparable to Andrew Luck's shoulder injury?
It is, and I think here's the gist too, though, and I think they played it smart. I mean, do you let Cam sit an entire year, take your lumps, because he's a different quarterback. He doesn't sit in the pocket. Andrew Luck was able to come back after a year off, stay in the pocket, and play a pretty good, they went to the playoffs. But Cam's a different beast, and if he runs and he takes some shots, he's going to get hurt, and we're going to see Will Greer in there by game 3 or something.
Thursday night at Pittsburgh last year was the shoulder.
Yeah,
that was the play, and it was never right after that.
Right.
I think my thing is, again, you hit a good point. Will Greer Will Greer could very well, in a couple of years, be a starter almost anywhere in this league. He's got the basic skill set.
I think so.
If they let Cam sit, you may well let him go. Because I think Will Greer is a true quarterback, a pure quarterback. He's a pocket passer. He can scramble when he needs to. He's not necessarily a running quarterback. He probably, if anything, the most he's going to do is a Russell Wilson, a scramble just enough to let a receiver
get a couple yards.
He don't want to run.
Exactly. So, and pocket quarterbacks are easier to block for. They're easy. They don't put as much task on your linemen because you know where your quarterback's going to be. You can actually do your assignment.
You're right.
I had guys that were linemen for the Panthers that had to block for Cam. They're in
no
position.
idea where he's at.
They look over and Cam's to their right shoulder.
All right, we're going to take a break, but real quick, Will, before you go, I know you've been playing golf all week. You got to make some money at William Wilson Clothing. What do you think about the business impact of the practice facility in South Carolina?
Like I told you before, I think it's amazing. I think it was a great move. If you own property in Rock Hill, South Carolina, your property value just went up. If you got anything in that area, it's going to be great. It's going to be good for business. It's going to make that place relevant. Right now, Fort Mill is kind of overtaken Rock Hill because their school systems and the proximity of Charlotte. Rock Hill, now the Panthers facility now makes Rock Hill a destination. It makes it a sports destination. If they make this kind of like they have the Star in Dallas,
right,
where it's one in Frisco, you'll go down there on your own on a Friday night just to go out there and have a good time. If they do this right, so I think it's huge.
Well, thanks a lot, Will. And just so you know, you passed me because I got caught in lap traffic. We'll get to that.
No, you did not pass you in the
later. We're coming back with more talking about sports right after this.
Buddy looked good.
Kevin got tape.
Buddy looked good.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 podcast for sports.
Somebody said trade Kemba Walker, but no Leezy.
And No Limit Larry. I like No Limit Larry. I think No Limit Larry ought to get some playing time.
Wow.
As Kemba goes, so go the Hornets. And that's how it was last night.
I've never wished Kevin would have won a bet more than I do right now.
Now, come on down to the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, Talking About Sports.
Best food around.
All right, welcome back to Talking About Sports with Landy Ford, Jeff Taylor, and Eric Brennan from the World Karting Association. You're an announcer from New York State, right?
Yep, New York City.
Well, we won't hold that against you down here. But tell us, we were out on the carts earlier. I was doing all right. I got caught up in lap traffic. Jeff Taylor and William Wilson got the better of me because they used the lap traffic against me.
We used the bumper a couple times.
Yeah, they did. I got moved over, man. There should have been a black flag involved.
Robin's racing.
Tell us more about, to the person who doesn't know about, what is the World Karting Association and what is kart racing?
Well, first of all, what we see behind us, I mean, that's more of a novelty. That's if you want to take the friends and the family out for an afternoon, have a little bit of fun. You come to Victory Lane Karting, which, by the way, this is one of the best karting facilities I've ever been to because they don't govern the motors. We actually had to use the brake pedal here, and I'm not going to tell too many people, but Jeff Taylor did set the quick time out of all of us. However, the World Karting Association has been around since 1972. They're actually a non-profit racing organization. So, and how often you hear this in racing, they're not in it for the money. They're in it to try to provide a platform for not only children, but for everybody to be able to race affordably. And they're bringing back an event here in Charlotte for the first time in many, many years next weekend.
When I think of karting, Jeff, Jeff, you and I are from Richmond, Virginia. They have that kart track near Richmond International Raceway.
Right.
And Jeff was a longtime NASCAR announcer, so I know he knows about racing. But when I think of karting, I think of Lake Speed.
I do, yeah, absolutely.
Lake Speed, that's the first thing I thought of, JT.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I mean,
and
Jeff Gordon started there too.
Jeff Gordon started there.
Yep. And Lake is still active in the karting community. He still races for fun, which is kind of the beauty of the World Karting Association. We have racers as young as 5 years old that are going to be competing at Charlotte Motor Speedway next weekend. And then we have our senior classes, which have guys like Lake Speed, he's been out of NASCAR since 2011, but he's still keeping active. And, we were out there for 8 minutes. It's a physically demanding sport. A lot of people think racing is just sitting at the wheel of a car, and you're not really doing much, you're not moving around much. I think if you come down here, you can prove to yourself that you do have to put a little bit of muscle behind what you're doing.
You got like Lanny play college football. I mean, you know, you get out there and get on them go-karts, or what do they call them? Carts, right? What do you call them?
They're carts, yeah.
Look, Lanny, you need to get in a cart, man.
I like go-karts. I like to play in go-karts.
This is, I mean, like he said, 8 laps. My hands were numb. I was like sweating.
You sure he had the fastest time?
He did, unfortunately.
About like 0.2 of a second.
Yeah.
You're no Bob Dillner, though, JT. Just remember that. All right. So what is coming up? Tell us more about what is happening next weekend.
So the World Karting Association, specifically on the Manufacturers Cup Series side, they have 6 races. However, there's one event that we've held for 45 years in Daytona inside the Daytona International Speedway, the actual Daytona International Speedway. And we have all 3 series of the WKA in there attending. The Dirt Series, also Road Race, and then Manufacturers Cup, which is what I'm the announcer for. What they do is, and they're going to do the same thing here at Charlotte for the first time in a number of years. They'll have the Dirt Series at the dirt track. Right. They'll have the Manufacturers Cup inside the 1.5-mile oval, and then they'll have the road race carts, which often they're flat carts, so you have to lay down completely on your back. They'll reach speeds of about 100 miles an hour, and they'll be competing on what we're now dubbing the Roval, right, which is the road course of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're expecting 3,000 to 5,000 people to attend, competitors and fans as well. And to enter for fans, only $40 to get into the Speedway property. And for more information, they can just head on over to worldkarting.com.
And what do you do? You're announcing. You're like the next Ken Squire.
That's the plan. I don't know. Hopefully, it pans out that way. But
that's Jeff and Kevin Tolbert's
exactly.
World Sports.
World Sports Enterprises.
Much props to Ken Squire.
Yeah. Here's the fascinating thing about karting, and I took my fiance to Daytona with us for Daytona Kart Week this past December, and
you still engaged?
She was
that?
Yes. I don't know how, but yes. And she was amazed because we call it the Manufacturers Cup, and people ask why. And for those of you who may want to get involved in racing, I suggest karting not just because of affordability, but the manufacturer support. And a lot of these teams are based overseas. Fernando Alonso, Formula One champion. Don't look at what he did at the Indy 500 this past year, but he's somebody who started his own chassis manufacturing company. And we live stream these events on ekartingnews.com. Mm-hmm. At the end of a weekend, we'll have 300,000 people that have tuned in to listen to the races and how they pan out, not just looking for the next racing talent, but just to see how the equipment is faring, because a lot of these people are trying to get their kids involved in the sport, and they want to know what chassis to go with, what route to take, and that's really what the Manufacturers Cup specifically is all about.
Would the average sports fan know just how big it is? Because it is big, isn't it? And it's growing.
And that's the thing is, auto racing has fallen under a lot of stereotypical categories.
Right, on the NASCAR level.
Right, which is hard to come out from under sometimes.
Right.
I look at karting as the perfect avenue to go down because, yes, it is very competitive. In fact, if you want to tune into the Netflix series with David Letterman, he does an interview with Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton, and in that video montage, they actually have 2 up-and-coming competitors, age 14 and under, who are making their way up the World Karting Association ladder, who are probably going to be on the national scale rather quickly. So with that in mind, it's a very affordable route to go. It is very competitive, but when we drop the last checkered flag and our podium ceremonies are over with, these kids are outside on the grass playing football. They're tackling each other, playing tag, out on their bikes, their scooters. It's a very competitive form of any type of sport, specifically motorsport, but the camaraderie is still there where these kids are still able to be kids and are still able to have a good time, and that's why I condone karting as one of the best avenues to get involved in.
See, JT, you should have had Jack, you and the doctor should have had all the kids going into racing instead of going to App State in South Carolina.
I know, all right. Hey, broadcast journalism, they're the one.
Well, it could be
that's
just
still rough road.
It could be just as expensive, if not more.
Don't look at me as for an example of that. So how's your career going? I mean, where you want to get on, like MRN, PRN, and
that's the goal. I mean, for me,
Jeff Taylor, Ken Squire.
I would love that. For me personally, we moved down from New York City last September. I'm very fortunate that an opportunity opened up at Bowman Gray Stadium, which, if you've seen the documentary on Discovery Channel, also known as the Madhouse, and it truly is the Madhouse. So I work with Randy Pettit there. I just got a gig at Z-Max Dragway over at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the quarter-mile drag strip. I'll be there every Friday night, and we're just plugging along, trying. I love the sport of auto racing. I can't really tell why. I grew up in a stick and ball family. Mom was a Yankee fan, Dad was a Mets fan, so there was an immediate divide there. And I broke my leg one summer and went auto racing. And I was never fast enough. Today proved it. I was never fast enough to race. We never had the money to race. And somehow talking about racing through the Connecticut School of Broadcasting got me to Charlotte, where I could potentially make a living doing that. So we'll see.
You need to make friends with guys like Lanny and Jeff Taylor, who have a lot of contacts in broadcast.
Well, that's why I don't tell Jeff, but I may have let him have the fast time.
There we go. Let me ask you one question. So in terms of karting and where it's going, and you mentioned coming from up north, it seems like even though NASCAR, had its roots in the South,
right?
More and more people that I meet who've kind of stuck with racing are from the north, right. And it seems you talk about modifieds, you talk about sprint, you talk about kart. There just seems to be even more of a passion from that area and not as much as south. Do you get that vibe?
Well, and I think a lot of that comes from, and this is a great segue because I was listening to your guys' coverage of the Carolina Panthers, and what do we talk about when we look at an athlete coming out of college? You want to talk about their dedication. Less time on your phone, less time on social media, more time in the gym, more time doing reps. People who make the leap, and this is actually an interesting story because my local newspaper, the Staten Island Advance, published a story about a girl who is moving from the city that is New York down to this area to pursue a career in racing. She would love to drive, but she just wants to be a part of it. That level of dedication to uproot your life and move, mostly on your own, I think it's more respected in this area than anyone could ever imagine. And it does correlate, in my opinion, to any other form of major sporting event, where else will you find somebody who loves a sport so much, be it auto racing,
right,
to be able to move 600 plus miles away just for an opportunity, not even for a given chance, just to be in the right place, right time, hopefully. And auto racing is filled with a lot of those human interest stories, and I honestly think that's why I'm hooked.
Wow.
Lenny, you got any friends that can help young Eric out? Maybe have him on the bottom line one day?
I'd be glad to have him on. I'll give him some contact information.
Right on.
It's all about connections.
Plus, so when's your next event that you're calling?
So, me personally, I'll be at D-Max Dragway this Friday. I'll also be at Bowman Gray Stadium this coming Saturday. But the big thing we want to talk about is the World Karting Association's race at Charlotte Motor Speedway coming up next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They usually utilize Friday as a day of practice. We're going to race Saturday and Sunday. Again, for more information, visit worldkarting.com. It is the true foundation of motorsports. The proof is in a number of stars that we've referenced already here today. And I promise you that channel will continue to funnel some of motor racing's top talent for many, many years to come.
You know anything about basketball?
So,
no?
Not much, but I will be watching the finals.
All right. Well, can you stay around?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to come back with more talking about sports from World Karting right after this. Welcome back to Talking About Sports. We're here at World Karting. Couldn't ask for a better location right here at 85 and 77, Lanny, with Eric Brennan from the World Karting Association, announcer, and Lanny Ford from the Bottom Line. And Lanny, the NBA Finals are in full swing. Kevin Durant had Achilles surgery. He's out maybe all next year. If he comes back, it'll be this maybe for the playoffs next year. Golden State's back against the wall. Toronto at home. I don't think it's, to me, with the injury situation, I just don't see Toronto losing 2 in a row.
I don't either. And you look at it, and I know Grant went out with 9 minutes, some odd seconds in the second quarter on the injury, and he had put up 11 points. The Warriors only won by 1. So you wonder, was that 11 points the contribution that they needed to put them over the top for that game? I didn't really see them winning, but I didn't see Durant playing either. I really thought that they would pick it up and finish it up, but I don't think the Warriors have got 2 left in them.
I'm a Spurs fan, so I hate seeing Kawhi Leonard be so successful. I don't wish that he would have had KD's injury, but I wouldn't have minded. But Eric, what do you think? You like the Knicks or Brooklyn, or who's your spot?
Well, I mean,
you like the Hornets now?
When the Knicks were good, I was an infant, so I wasn't able to enjoy it. And Kevin Durant was a name that many penciled as the top free agent to land in New York.
He's not going there now.
It doesn't look that way now. The one thing I'm taking out of this NBA Finals is if we went back to the beginning of the season when Las Vegas revealed their odds and what we thought we were going to see unfold for this year, I mean, the Golden State Warriors were favored by a mile. Now, I mean, if they're able to pull this out on the heels of the final couple games of the season, they're the underdog. And so many people have disrespected the Toronto Raptors for so long. They refer to them as the little baby dinosaurs. And they've come out and proven themselves over and over again. And now the Warriors find themselves in a position where they literally are the underdog. And I don't know, and I'll pose a question to you guys because you're a little more proficient in basketball than I am. If the Warriors are somehow able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, where would this rank in terms of their prior NBA championships they've garnered, especially with a team that they're kind of seeing deplete before our very eyes at this moment?
What do you think, Lanny? I think if they can win 2 in a row, my hat's off to them.
The narratives change all the time.
Right.
Like, for example, if the Warriors get beat, are they going to hang it on? Well, they were too banged up. They hang it on Durant. If they win, well, they were playing Toronto. Nobody really took them serious. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People write the narratives the way they want them and how they get the most clicks. That's what they're after. So it's really hard. And the whole thing that it's done as far as the kink is put into the free agency, Kevin Durant can stay. It's a player's option, $31.5 million just to sit at home for next year and wait. And that's probably what's going to happen. But it really mucks up all the moving pieces that they thought they were going to have this year because now he's not one of them.
Right.
So that changes the strategy.
Do you
it really brings AD, Anthony Davis, into play.
Now, do you think if you're a free agent, a team, do you want to give him a contract? And by the way, I don't feel too bad for Kevin Durant. He's got a $30 million player option, so he can go back, have the team surgeons take care of him, rehab, come back and maybe help Golden State. Maybe compete in the playoffs and maybe even another title at the end of next year, maybe rejuvenate his market value.
Well, it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be a wait and see. He's still got the thing in his mind that he has to prove that he can do it without a team that's already done a championship, and that's one of those things inside his ego that he's trying to fight with and deal with. And you know, it's hard if the Warriors lose and he's not in. Does that change the narrative that they really do need him to win championships?
What do you think of Steph Curry's performance so far, the hometown guy?
Steph done a great job, but there again, the number of games that they play, they have played 5 seasons in 4 years based on the number of games through playoffs, and it's starting to take its toll.
What do you think, Boogie Cousins, Klay Thompson, can the rest of that group and Steph, you think they can come back and dig 2 in a row out against the team with the best record in the league?
Here's the thing. They're all household names. And I think to your point, you know, as far as what Kevin Durant wants long term, I think he wants to be the guy. Yeah. And when we kind of clump him in under Steph, we kind of clump him in to the same type of grouping with all the rest of those players that we were just talking about. And as far as what KD is going to do long term, I'm not quite sure. However, I think it's hard to argue. This is Steph Curry's team, and I think that if anybody is going to have to come back from any form of adversity, whether it be mental, physical, or what have you, I think Curry's the guy. I think he's the one who can, in fact, galvanize this team to come back from what is now what some may call insurmountable odds. I'm not exactly quite sure that is what this is, but it's going to be fun to see if he can galvanize that team, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say they will, and you could hold me to it. I think I don't see the Warriors throwing this thing away.
All right, what do you think, Lanny?
Here's the deal. What's going to happen is if you follow NBA basketball, and I'm not a complete study of NBA basketball, but as the above casual fan, if you can't realize that KD is the best player on the Golden State Warriors team, you're not paying attention. Now, not that Steph Curry's not amazing, but to be 7 foot and do the things that KD does from inside, outside, handle the ball, smooth defense. I mean, you've got to look at all the facets of the game, not just because Curry or Klay Thompson can knock down 35-footers.
But the thing is, what they do, Lanny, I think, is with Kevin Durant, you have a Klay Thompson and a Steph Curry spacing the floor, opening it up to where a guy like Kevin Durant can utilize his all-around skills to drive. And if you pack him in low, he can make the 3.
But the thing is, who's going to stop him? Who are you going to match up with Kevin Durant to stop him?
Only Dr. Frank Jobe or Dr. James Andrews at this point. What do you think now, Lanny, pivoting to the Hornets? Are they going to renounce Jeremy Lamb's contract? Is Kemba going to go? I mean,
they've got a
Tony
lot of
Parker's
guys.
already retired.
Well, he's a great Spur. Sorry he had to go out as a Hornet, but that's the way it goes.
The whole problem with the Hornets is they're never going to commit the money that they need. They're going to be the best team that doesn't make the playoffs. That's just the way that it is. Michael's never going to bring 3 superstars in to compete for a championship.
William Wilson said that they need to go into luxury tax for a couple years while they're paying off Batum's contract. That way they could have re-signed Kemba and maybe another guy. And you're saying they won't?
Kemba's not enough.
I know.
That's the whole point.
That's a fact.
I mean, and he can be, I hate to use this term, but a mercenary. He can go hook up with somebody that's already got 2 stars,
right,
and be that 3rd star,
like
and go
Dallas
out there and compete
with
for a
Doncic and Porzingis.
Yeah, and Charlotte has never tried to do that. You cannot build a championship team through the draft in the NBA. You can't do it. You got to go buy
players. Have you ever heard the expression, you got to be real bad to get real good?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the Spurs when they had David Robinson.
The Hornets are real. The Hornets are real mediocre.
And you'll never
get
above about the 6th or 7th seed, or anywhere between 6 and 10. You get one home game in the playoffs
and out in one series
and out.
And I will tell you, from a branding perspective, being from New York and having gone to a couple of Knicks games myself, I mean, the New York crowd has kind of just accepted what the Knicks are. Obviously the hopes were we were going to get Zion Williamson in the draft. That didn't happen. The hope was we were going to get Kevin Durant in free agency. That's not going to happen. And most of the New York, the kind of mantra is, well, that's just the Knicks. What I've come to realize from moving to Charlotte is, our city really does rally around the Hornets, and it's kind of amazing. And I think as a courtesy to the fan base itself, which is, and I'll relate it to the Carolina Panthers fan base. I mean, those who support that team support it in droves, large numbers, and a lot of love. And I think they're owed that opportunity to, like you said, not rely on the draft, because it's not possible to build a champion. And I don't know why we build that up. 76ers thought they were coming close to it this season after they tanked for about the last 2 years, but that didn't work. Building a championship team through the draft will not work. They've got to loosen the pockets a little bit more and try to at least give not only this team but this city an opportunity to have an NBA franchise they could be proud of.
And it's hard to get the solid support of the fans when they don't see the solid commitment from ownership.
Absolutely.
To bring in the players and keep the players that they need to keep to be competitive.
I'd say the draft works if you're the Spurs. We got David Robinson and Tim Duncan out of the deal. What do you think about some guys that have come in and worked out? Jalen Hort from Wake Forest. We saw a lot of these guys. Taco Fall from Central Florida.
Go
Any
look,
impact guys?
But go look. If you listen to draft talk, it's already been said after the first 3 are gone, it's just a coin flip for the rest that you want in the rest of that round and second round.
So would you trade down?
Well, I mean,
if somebody else
you've got to bring
up?
some veteran in that you can build around. You can take pieces and build around, but you can't make your nucleus out of the draft. Zion Williamson, you can,
right,
but he can't do it on his own. You're going to have to bring some pieces with him too.
All right, can you stick around one more?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we're going to come. Fred Whitfield. We want to make mention of Fred Whitfield. Let me find. The Charlotte Hornets have named Fred Whitfield, the 2019 Citizen of the Carolinas by the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. I know Kevin Tolbert used to work with him with the Bobcats. Fred Whitfield, longtime team executive with the Bobcats/Hornets, Lanny. So a great community guy.
Well, and that's one of the things that you can say. I always question why Michael wasn't more active in the community. I mean, he is to some extent, but he's local. That's a North Carolina guy. Played at North Carolina, out of Wilmington, North Carolina, and the impact that he has if he doesn't do anything but show up to every game is huge for the community.
All right, we're going to come back with more Talk About Sports from World Karting right after this. Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolinas' #1 podcast for sports.
Somebody said trade Kemba Walker for No Leezy.
And No Limit Larry. I like No Limit Larry. I think No Limit Larry ought to get some playing time.
Wow. As Kemba goes, so go the Hornets. And that's how it was last night.
I've never wished Kevin would have won a bet more than I do right now.
Now, come on down to the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, Talking About Sports.
Best food around.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
All right, welcome back to Talking About Sports from World Karting with Eric Brendan from World Karting and Lanny Ford from The Bottom Line. Anthony Davis is available, Lanny. Demanded a trade. He said his agent has said anybody, it's a one-year rental. He's going to the Lakers after 1 year. What do you think is the best route for Anthony Davis? Do you want to give Zion Williamson a try? I really like Alvin Gentry down at
for the Pelicans, a guy from this area who turned me on to Bridges Barbecue in Shelby, I might add. It's great. Anthony Davis, what's the best option for him, you think?
I understand, but if he goes to LA, he's not competing for a championship right away. They have their own issues. That's a nightmare organization as far as management's concerned right now. The one thing that you can say about the Pelicans is at least they're a stable organization. You bring in Zion Williamson. To me, you've got 2 superstars right there.
Absolutely.
If you can find
and
one
Drew
more
Holiday
to come
is
in,
a borderline
you bring
star.
one more to come in and join them, you can at least be a factor going into next year. Now, it may be that he just doesn't want to spend any more time in New Orleans, but, that's kind of what LeBron did. LeBron went to L.A. not for just basketball, but for business purposes.
Okay. What do you think, Eric? What do you think? What's KD's best option?
I'll tell you, I've been infatuated with the Anthony Davis story ever since it began because, and I'll relate it to a personal career move. The minute you kind of hint off to your employer that you're thinking about going somewhere else, that relationship's going to crumble and break apart whether you wanted to or not. And I mean, they could do whatever they want to make you stay, like the Pelicans try to do. They could offer you whatever they may think that you want. But once they kind of got the sniff that you want to go somewhere else, I think it's best for them to cut the ties. Now, it sounds like the vendetta from not allowing him to go to the Lakers is personal. It sounds like because that's where he wants to go, they kind of want to shun him and not allow him that opportunity. I think that's just kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face because look at what the Lakers are going through right now. They have so many names that, again, household names, people that we know and talk about. That combination just didn't work, as you alluded to. So there's a lot of things that they can grab off the apple tree when it comes to the Lakers. And the fact that they're willing to try to part with Davis to another team or another organization only to spite themselves in the long run, I don't really get it.
Well, I think the Benson family, which owns the Saints, Mrs. Benson and a lot of people, including Greg Popovich, said, I will never trade with the Lakers. I don't care.
But there's a lot of low-hanging fruit they can grab from there.
Borderline tampering, but I say if they offer you the best package, you got to
and the thing of it is, are you kidding me? It's all tampering. Yeah. I mean, they're all doing because the players can do what they want to. I don't know if this story just came down. Kimmel said he'd take less money to stay in Charlotte.
Hometown discount.
Okay, but he's still not competing for a championship. He just wants to finish his career.
So he made third team All NBA. He can get the Supermax, but now he may take the regular.
Is he a Supermax player?
Not to me. But
how's he a Supermax player?
I'm no Mitch
Kupchak.
Kupchak. I'm no Mitch Kupchak. What about Kyrie Irving, Lanny? Played 7 games at Duke.
The problem with Kyrie is he can't figure out what he wants. I mean, he's almost a journeyman. He bounces from team to team, and if it doesn't suit him, he's ready to go somewhere else. Somewhere, you're going to have to grow up and make a commitment and say, okay, I'm here for the long haul. I'm here to win.
Is it just me, or he said he didn't want to be the number 2 guy? He wanted to be the number 1 guy wherever he went? And
he's not the number 1 guy.
But the thing is, I don't think he's comfortable being the 1 guy.
Well, there was talk of him going into New York, especially you're talking about the Knicks.
Right.
The New York press would eat him alive. He can go to the Nets, but he can't go to the Knicks because he pulls the stunts that he pulls. New York press will eat him alive. He thinks he's uncomfortable.
And I mean, there is a substantial gap between the Knicks and the Nets, but even with that, there's still that opportunity that he could still be under the same type of microscope once the Nets start becoming relevant again, which is a possibility. So
they haven't been relevant since Dr. J played for them. I'll just go back to that.
Can't argue.
All right, Eric, thanks a lot for being here. Best of luck moving forward.
Thank you, my friend.
We're going to come back with more Talking About Sports right here from World Cardio. Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 podcast for sports.
Somebody said trade Kemba Walker, but no Leezy.
And No Limit Larry. I like No Limit Larry. I think No Limit Larry ought to get some playing time.
Wow. As Kemba goes, so go the Hornets. And that's how it was last night.
I've never wished Kevin would have won a bet more than I do right now.
Now, come on down to the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, Talking About Sports.
Best food around.
Here at Victory Lane Karting, we have the fastest go-karts in the U.S. We have 9 horsepower Sodi gas-powered go-karts. Here, we don't restrict them, we compete them. We have 2 different tracks that we run at the same time. We have youth karts, we have adult karts. We run over 100 races on Saturdays, so there's a lot going on here, and we're pretty busy, definitely. We're basically a one-stop shop for entertainment, from corporate outings. We have a lot of corporate parties throughout the year. We have a lot of birthday parties.
It's a lot of fun. We're having a blast. Not very good at it, but it's still a great experience. So I guess that means I'm supposed to have to keep coming in.
Our food is awesome. We cater anything from a small party to hundreds of people. You can get filet mignon, you can get shrimp cocktails, you can get pork and pulled chicken and baked beans. Whatever you want, we can make it here on site, and we cater to whatever your party size is. You can have a bachelor party, we do it all. Our bar is full service. We have 20 local beers on tap, as well as a full bar service, a bartender, and a full restaurant menu. We have a bowling alley, we have a restaurant, and we have an arcade. So that's what happens here at Victory Lane Karting. Come out and see us.
All right, welcome back to talking about sports from Victory Lane Karting, and we're saving a seat for Hans, who, if Kevin Tolbert would open up the,
he's the most important guy.
He's the most important guy right now. We've got some food here. We've got the Victory Lane Karting napkins. We got some sliders.
These are our regular sandwiches cut into four. We're gonna have some wings coming out.
Wings coming out. Are you going to get them, or can you have somebody on the staff get them? Because we would.
I'll come in if you want.
Come on in, sit down here, Hans. If you can get by me.
He's following me out right now.
All right, Hans. How you doing?
Sir.
Hans,
Well.
what's your last name?
Sonneson.
Okay. Tell us what's going on with the here at World Karting at the Victory Lane Karting.
Indoor Karting. Yeah, come on in here, Carrie-Ann. She's bringing in our
Carrie-Ann's
our wings.
you get a very, very, very important person here.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, here at Victory Lane Karting, we do a lot of things. For starters, we race go-karts. That's our big thing. We race unrestricted go-karts. We go real fast. We do league racing. We're hosting the World Championship. We do youth racing. We do endurance racing. We have a Le Mans this weekend, 3-hour endurance race that we put on for Father's Day. We host corporate events, birthday parties, bachelor parties.
Parties.
We do it all. Yeah.
I'm going through the divorce, but I just like the idea if one of my friends gets married, I'll come here.
Or you could get remarried.
No, I won't.
Okay, just thought I'd throw that out there.
My lawyers are killing me as it is now, man.
Yeah.
So
this food is from our restaurant, Pit Road Bar and Grill. It was featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri.
Oh, I love that. I watch it every Friday night.
Steak sandwich right here.
Oh.
It's called our Concord. It's got blue cheese on it, a little fig paste. Over here we have our Hot Lap sandwich. It's a Bloody Mary mixed marinated chicken with a jalapeno crema on there with a little mozzarella cheese. And then we have our dry rub wings over here and some mild wings over there and some dipping sauce. So I don't know when you want to dig into it, but you're welcome to at any time.
I'll stay for the end of the show. This stuff
Sure thing.
it's very tempting. So
it's good stuff.
What do you know anything about things other than racing?
Do I know things about other racing?
Like sports?
I'm a sports fan. You know, I'm from Philadelphia originally. But
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You like the Eagles?
Of course.
Fly Eagle Fly?
Of course. Yeah, when we won the championship, I changed my racer name to Fly Eagles Fly for the summer. I had to.
So you race too, right?
Yeah, I race here too. Yeah.
What do you in the karts, or what do you do? Like late modified? You do any big cars?
No, I've never done any of that. I've just raced here. I've raced here for over 10 years. Started in the league racing, went to the Le Mans racing, did endurance races, won a couple 24 and 12-hour races, and now I run the track and I'm the general manager. So I make sure all the competition runs well. So we do a lot of league racing.
That's a good deal, being like the GM and the part-time driver in GMs, like the old player coach. Remember that, Lanny?
You have to take advantage of some of the perks that are out there.
Yeah, well, most thing I'm concerned about is good quality racing. So we try to make sure that is our primary focus. And then if I can, I'll jump in the kart and race a little bit.
And you guys have been around for a long time.
Yeah, this place.
A lot of people don't understand how long you've been here.
We've been here since 2000. And it has expanded quite a bit. This track behind us, it used to be half the size, and we've expanded over the years. Now we got twice as many karts, we've got twice as much track. We run 2 tracks simultaneously, and we combine the tracks together to make a big track we call Super Track. So we do a lot of things, yeah.
I've seen your ads around, but I mean, shows like talking about sports and the bottom line could always would like to have you on board to help get the word out.
Yeah, sure.
What about so the Charlotte Checkers won the hockey.
They
Your
sure
local
did.
business. By the way, I love the location. 85 and 77.
Yeah.
You
Easy to
can't
get
ask
here.
for a better location.
Yeah, we're right in the crack of it right there.
And
It's easy to get
did
to.
you follow the Charlotte Checkers? They won the Calder Cup. Is that what it is
Yeah,
called,
they
Lanny?
did. Yeah.
Did you follow them?
I went to game 2. That was fun. Very exciting. Here at home, and then they went to Chicago and beat them there. So, yeah, I watch them occasionally. They're pretty cool. We've gone out on the ice there when they were back in downtown.
You ever
the
get
go-karts out there?
Get the Checkers in here to race some go-karts? or
Yeah,
something?
sometimes. We had Chubby Checker in a go-kart 2 summers ago up at the summer shootout. We had him out there do a race around the speedway. That was pretty fun. We've had checkmates come in here with some parties. They come in and
Easy,
throw
big
birthday
guy.
parties.
Can't
and
go
stuff.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
As a single guy, I can say that.
Okay. You know, I'm assuming you still do it, but this used to be a good place to come if you want to do corporate bonding things.
Oh, yeah,
Where you
that's-
could bring in a company, could bring in a staff or department and do an afternoon and
Yeah,
do meetings and conference, that kind of thing. Is that still available?
Definitely. Our corporate business is a big part of what we do around here. We just built a brand new 4,000 square foot conference room. We call it Tipton Hall. It has all state-of-the-art equipment with projectors, high-def projectors, another bar over there that we can work. Yeah, we have people that buy out the whole building. We had Barrett Jackson in here last week. They put in some cars in the lobby. We
That's
had
big
300
time.
people. We have all the local businesses, the banks, Bank of America comes in a lot, Wells Fargo, all those guys. They anywhere from 10 people from the office to 200 people to appreciate the entire company. So it really just depends on what they want to do, and we have 100,000 square feet to work with. So we do a lot of big stuff.
Did you know the St. Louis Blues won the hockey? But I hated both
saw
teams.
that.
I hate the Bruins and the Blues. As a Chicago Blackhawk fan, I can say I hate both teams.
Right? Being from Philadelphia, you know.
I love the Flyers.
The Flyers are my
Lanny will
team.
remember
so.
this. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia. We had the Richmond Robins. They were like the farm team of the Flyers in the 70s.
Yeah.
And Dave the Hammer Schultz came up through the Richmond Robins. My dad used to drink beer at this place in the neighborhood, and it was known for having the best fights in town. And Dave Schultz used to come over to this beer joint and stay late at night. My dad's like, "Hey, what are you doing over here? You're a big hockey guy." He goes, "I hear the fights are good, and I'm trying to make the NHL."
But that was that 1A? Went like the East Coast League?
Yeah, that was the old thing. Now, the next step was the NHL.
Oh, okay, like the Hurricanes
Yeah,
and,
it's like the
and the
AHL
Checkers
of
are
the
now.
70s.
Checkers and
The old Checkers, when they first started here, was
Jim
1A,
Lane
and there
and all
was a
those
lot
guys.
of good fights.
Oh, yeah.
Those are awesome hockey games.
I always like to watch the Phantoms when they come into town.
There you go. What do you think about the U.S. Open golf?
I don't follow golf a whole lot, you know. I appreciate it. I'm terrible at it.
I'm terrible at it, but I still play. Not as good as Lanny.
I appreciate good sports. You watch good competition, it's always fun.
Phil Mickelson tees off later today, Lanny. Rory McIlroy's one of the favorites. You kind of pull for Phil Mickelson. That's the only one he hadn't won.
Like to see a Phil get it. I know Tiger's in it. I was stunned by the Masters. I was one of those that said he'd never win another major. He may win a tournament or two, but I never thought he'd win another major. But if you watch the Masters and you watch Tiger, he's not the same guy. He understands he doesn't have the body that he had before, and he's playing to what his body will allow, and he's completely comfortable with it.
But I think that these big young guys that take out the drivers that want to go long, I think with this, if you go a little bit left or right, you're going to be in some tall grass. So maybe the 3-iron and the short stuff are going to get you further down the line.
Oh, absolutely.
Tiger, the brain may be Tiger's best friend this weekend.
Well, it'll help out with the greens, but it's not going to help out with the rough. You got to keep it in the fairway.
And it's not going to help out with his back either. Big Papi got shot. I'm not a big Boston Red Sox fan, but he's the only guy I think I like of the new guys. Of course, you like Carl Yastrzemski and Jim Rice and Fred Lynn and Carlton Fisk and those guys. But these new guys, I don't really feel much. But I like David Ortiz. What a great guy.
Well, and if you saw some of the stories that's broke now, supposedly it was like a $7,500 or $8,500 hit.
Is that all you got? Is that all you can get?
That's not a whole lot. That's not a whole lot. He didn't do a good job at it for that.
They said it's 10 million pesos. I'll do it. That's only $7,500. Oh, well,
that's terrible.
I don't know, but thanks for hanging out, Eric. Hans. Hans, tell us what's coming up here at Victory Lane Indoor Karting.
Well, this summer we have our summer camp where we invite kids in for the whole week. We have groups of kids that are from 6 years old up to 14 years old. We teach them how to race a go-kart, and they have a lot of fun throughout the week. We have our adult league. We just started our summer season, sponsored by Monster, and we're getting prepared for the World Kart Championship. That's our big thing. We're bringing in people from all over the world to compete, and it's going to be a whole week of racing.
You get Kurt Busch in here. Kurt Busch is a big Monster guy.
Yeah, he's sponsored by Monster, definitely. He's been here a time or two, definitely.
He's friends with William Wilson. They're like really, really tight.
Right.
So we can get there. All right, thanks a lot, Hans. We're going to come back with more talking about sports from Victory Lane Karting right after this.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
All right, welcome back to Talking About Sports. We're here at Victory Lane Indoor Karting. And Hans, you got to stay one more segment. We got a few more minutes here. I just want to say before we go any further, please support local, not just shows like Talking About Sports and The Bottom Line, which we know we appreciate, but come to local businesses like Victory Lane Indoor Karting. Support local teams like the Charlotte Checkers, this year's Calder Cup champions, the Charlotte Knights, the Kannapolis Intimidators, Hickory Crawdads up your way, Lanny. We obviously the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte Hornets. So just support local businesses and local local teams. So. And this also has good food as we're getting ready to find out.
And I can go ahead and talk about that because I sat here and eat.
I know.
While we were on the air. When you guys were eating, I haven't got into anything serious, but the fries and the chips are awesome.
You've lost a lot of weight from your playing days back in Clemson. I mean, you used to be like what'd you play?
1978. At 6'3", 260, I was the second largest man on the team.
Wow.
That's 40 years ago.
Yeah,
offensive guard.
You were guard then. You're like a wide receiver now.
Yeah.
You're like Jordan Gross.
Yeah.
You lost like 100 pounds.
I'm not as slim as Jordan is.
He lost so much weight so fast.
Yeah. Hardly recognize him.
I didn't.
When you come off the table and come out of the weight room, it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, you hang it on you, and you have to work at it to keep it up there.
You played. Did you play against Del Wilkes when he was at South Carolina?
I'm older than he is. The guys that I played with,
George Rogers and that group. They were a little bit after you, right?
Yes. Steve Fuller was our quarterback
right.
when I was a freshman. Dwight Clark just passed away from Charlotte. Those guys were seniors. My age group, Perry Tuttle. Jeff Davis is in the Ring of Honor. Those guys, we were all freshmen together.
What a great guy, Perry Tuttle.
Oh, Perry's the best.
Great human being.
Perry's the best.
All right. Let's go to some final thoughts. Anything, Hans, about anything in the sports world or anything you have in mind? Go ahead.
Well, we all sit around at our bar at night and watch all the finals for the sports games. So we watched the hockey game yesterday. We've been watching the NBA finals. It's pretty exciting going back and forth to the, East Coast, West Coast, back and forth. Keep watching those games every 3 days. So hopefully tonight maybe the
Can people
Raptors
come here and watch
the
games?
Yeah, we have them in the bar all the time. So every weekend we put up the races, the NASCAR races. We have a good following of people that do that. F1 races, every once in a while we'll have a group out here in the middle of the night watching an F1 race. So we love sports. So
sounds like a great place to go watch sports. Is right here at Victory Lane Indoor Karting.
20 local beers on the tap.
You got any cider?
All local. Yeah, we got Bold Rock cider.
Oh, you're my man now. I don't drink that beer anymore, man, but I got that. I'll take that. I'll drink every bottle of cider you got here. I did that once at the Jefferson Hotel for my brother. It was on his tab.
Drank all they had.
I did. Me and my buddies, we did. Everyone they had.
Gotcha.
Lanny, what do you got?
I'm with you. People don't really realize how much local businesses have to offer, and you really need to take advantage of it. It's a great place. You see, there's 3 girls coming to go ride. They're just 3 girls hanging out, having a good time. And there's a lot of places you can't do that, but this is one of them. And when you've got the other things like you've got the bar, the big screen TVs, it's kind of like going to the Charlotte Knights. You can go to a Charlotte Knights game, very, very cheap, stand up on the stand-up porch, watch a ball game, and have a beer with buddies. Yeah. And it's a great way to do it, great way to get to hang around and support the local businesses that you got.
Yeah.
All right, and Lanny, you have a well-sponsored show that you deal with a lot of businesses up in your area, and I watch your show a lot and don't always contribute, but I always watching it. I'm amazed you have so many good local sponsors that believe in you and believe in your product.
Well, and they're looking for the same pushback because that's the way it works. Like I do, it's all about relationships.
I just want to say the NFL Hall of Fame needs to get up and shrine Roman Gabriel. It's way overdue. Former MVP, has great stats, better than a lot of guys who are in there already. So look up Roman Gabriel, the number 4, HOF, on Twitter. Vinny Sheehan, my good buddy, he's spearheading this effort to get Roman Gabriel into the Hall of Fame. Kevin Tolbert, Jeff Taylor, William Wilson, Hans Sonneson.
There you go. You got it.
Eric Brennan, and Lanny Ford. I'm Kevin Casey. This has been Talking About Sports from Victory Lane Indoor Karting. So long for now. Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 podcast for sports.
Somebody said trade Kemba Walker, but no Leezy.
And No Limit Larry.
I like No Limit Larry. I think No Limit Larry ought to get some playing time.
Wow. As Kemba goes, so go the Hornets. And that's how it was last night.
I've never wished Kevin would have won a bet more than I do right now.
Now, come on down to the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, Talking About Sports.
Best food around.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 podcast for sports.
Somebody said trade Kemba Walker, but no Leezy.
And No Limit Larry.
I like No Limit Larry. I think No Limit Larry ought to get some playing time.
Wow. As Kemba goes, so go the Hornets. And that's how it was last night.
I've never wished Kevin would have won a bet more than I do right now.
Now, come on down to the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, Talking About Sports.
Best food around.